finally have come to one of the last, let's say, tutorials and documentation about Kubernetes, so we can go on with the other topics that we've decided so far. At the moment, we have left as the trying the Kubernetes and walked through the basics, and we have learned about why Kubernetes is the best to use and what's the use cases, pros and cons. We have also considered the components of a cluster, the API, container, workloads, both how to scale it, how to remove the replicas, how to create replicas, and also with kubectl and with MiniCube, and to make some basics, and we have left with the, let's say, from the security part. But let's take a look at what the documentation of the Kubernetes will provide to us. So as we said, we have finished with the creating a cluster. We have also done the deploying an app, exploring your application, expose it to your app publicly, and to scaling your application. But of course, these are just basic tutorials, basic how-tos. And if you at least have an idea about what you're doing, or have an idea about how Kubernetes work and how to make them work, it's going to be way more easier in the future if you want to use it in the use case scenarios. And we've made a lot of examples. If you could check on the live streams that we have done on the last month, or let's say in the last week, maybe not in the last year. And yeah, we also created a service to expose our application outside of the cluster, and we learned how to create some replicas and to scale up and scale down, and also to update your application. And we also took a look at the configuration, but for documentation from the Kubernetes side, it doesn't provide much to us except for the tutorials and just theory. But if you want to use with the ConfigMaps and secrets with micro profile, you can take a look at it. I suggest that you find it a deeper look and a deeper documentation over here, which is directly shown how to configure a pod to use a ConfigMap. What you need the KillerCoda, need Kubernetes, MiniCube, and this is the command kubectl action and resource. And yeah, this is like really interesting stuff. But if you are interested more to use ConfigMap and or microprofile, I really suggest you take a look at this documentation. But for today, we are just going to go with mainly configuring Redis using a ConfigMap. We are not going to go all the way into it, but we are just going to have like an overview about how to configure Redis using the ConfigMap, or how to work mainly with KillerCoda, which is a new plugin that we are going to install into our machine. So what's our objectives for today? We're going to create a ConfigMap with Redis configuration values. We're going to create a Redis pod, and to verify that configuration what we did is correctly. But before we begin, we need to have MiniCube into our machine. If you follow tutorials so far, we have kubectl. Okay, it's good to go. If you install the MiniCube to create the clusters, there you go. But we didn't install KillerCoda in the last streams or in the last videos, but it is really easy to download. What I did to download KillerCoda was just, I think it was sudo apt get install KillerCoda, and it was way more easier. So this is a playground from Kubernetes to how to use KillerCoda. Okay, and yep, and we have both of them. So now let's check for the kubectl version. And kubectl is already installed, and I have I think it's the latest version. Yeah, 1.28.5. Okay. Okay, so this is a real world, real example of configuring Redis in the ConfigMap. So we do a cat eof, that example, redis config.yaml. Okay, so where am I? Maybe I should go somewhere to the downloads, right? Okay, and now I create like, I don't know, redis config. Okay, I'm here now. So let's create a YAML file called example redis config. So we're going to use the cat. Okay, so we there, and as you can see, the example Redis config is installed. Let's see what's inside of it. As you can see, it's just a YAML with the API version v1, ConfigMap, and the metadata and the data inside of that. But let's apply the ConfigMap created above along with the Redis pod manifest. Okay, that's gonna be really tricky, and let's see if it will even be reconfigured with my machine. And yeah, because it is not started, let's hopefully, if you follow the last stream, the issue was with MiniCube not being started. So every time I get the same error, now I just go ahead and just start the MiniCube. But yeah, that's like mainly it. But you're gonna give like a real life example, real better examples with MiniCube. It is really nice to use, but you can also use micro K3s. It is a really nice example, a really nice plugin that you should take a look at that. A really good one. But it depends, whatever you want to go. Well, if you have like a development or production, or you have lots of microservices to run, it should be good to work on that. Okay, so it is done. The cluster is running. So let me try this one. kubectl apply. Okay, maybe this is okay. So technically, we just created the config map. So that is there now from the let's say the YAML file that we created earlier. And now let's apply the Redis pods manifest. Yeah, my mouse is the best. Okay, so there you go. And there we have it. Pod Redis is now created. If you remember the comment or to get the pods is for the kubectl get pods. As you can see, we have Redis. It is already creating for the 13 seconds. So let's wait a little bit. It's just still creating. Okay, now it is running. So it took like almost 30 seconds for the pod, for the Redis pod to create and run. So since we have that running, let's see now that a volume name config is created by spec.volumes. The key and path, expose the Redis config. Okay, what does it mean? If you take a look at the YAML file that we created, we have created a config map with the name example Redis config. So what does that mean right now? TS net effects. Okay. Config map above is resumed inside the pods. Okay, understandable. Now let's examine the created pods. So kubectl get. Don't forget, on the Kubernetes you have only three methods: kubectl, action, and resource. So kubectl get pod Redis, when in ConfigMap is the example this config. So this will give me all the information in an output format of my pod and the config map. So I did just one small command. Hey, just give me the information for the pod and the config map that is called pod Redis and config map example Redis config. And as you can see, my pod is running. I have a config map. It has only one data, and they're both good to go. We left the Redis config empty. Okay, did we? Oh, okay, yeah. Looks like it is Redis config is empty, and we did not fill in. But looks like we should add some keys a bit later. But let's see what the documentation provide to us. So kubectl describe. This will give me the logs. Let's say more information of the config map that I want to take a look at. Example Redis config. Okay, and now all that it should do is just give me in a long format of my information. It says, hey, this is your namespace is default. This is your data, binary data, and nothing, which is the same as it is supposed to be with our documentation format. But we have now entered to another new command for us, which is the execute or exec, and we can use kubectl exec to enter the pod and run the Redis CLI to check the configuration. So let's get inside of our pod, of our container of the of our Redis container. And no, that's exec it Redis, and I want to go to Redis CLI. So what this command will do, it just give me inside. Okay. Sorry, I think it's this one. Okay, so now I'm inside of the Redis container, and I can do whatever I want here. I can get ping pong, and if I say ping again pong, it looks like it is online, it is created, and that's looks like we're okay with our Redis container for the first time in our cluster, in our technically in our pod. Okay, so let's go ahead and check with the max memory. We get max memory. So as you can see here, max, is this correct or not? Max memory. Okay. Okay, default value is 0, which is okay. We didn't configure much, it was just empty. It doesn't make sense. But now let's get the policy of our max memory. How's the policy of our memory? So it's not eviction. So okay, now let's add some configuration value to example.redis. Okay, so now after we finish that and we're good to go, we need to make some configuration for our max memory, where we want to maximize our memory, and also to change the policy. So if you remember, we created the example Redis config YAML file, and now it's time for us to change that. There is no way. I'm pretty sure I installed. I have Vim. Oh my god. Do I have Vim? There is no way. Okay, yes, sorry, I thought I installed Vim, but let me try right now. Because I have in my work computer in Linux, and it's like in my work computer there's like almost everything related to development and DevOps. But yeah, it should take really much time. Or if you like, you can go directly with GUI, or if you like Nano or sudo gedit to update it. But I really like Vim. I'm not an expert there, but I'm trying to learn that, and is maybe way more comfortable to use that. Okay, so now it tells me that I need to change the let's say the max memory, which is weird. I did insert. Did I click insert? Oh, I have another better example. Okay, let me click that here, and this one here, and this one. And I paste it. Okay. Let's get out of here, and let's verify. Okay, now our example Redis ConfigMap file is being configured. So now next step is to apply our updates. Here. And now after application you'll be good to go, and now we're gonna have a different max memory, which before it was 0, now it should be over 2000 or 2000 if I'm correct. And now our policy is big change from no eviction to all keys everywhere. So let's take a look at that. I think let's go on the hard way. Redis config. And now I'm gonna get all the information of my config map. As you can see, the max memory is 2 MB, and the policy is all keys everywhere. So what we did, we just changed the YAML file of the example Redis config, and we made some we applied the updates that we did. We applied the update that we did there, and it changed right away. As you can see, there was no downtime. It was pretty fast and really cool to use. But of course, it is a Redis-based application, and if you have a larger one, more than 2 MB, of course, you're gonna have a little bit of delay. Maybe like 5 seconds up to 5 minutes. It depends on your configuration, your architecture, and your structures. Okay, so we verified everything like that. So now let's check the Redis CLI, and let's get inside of our container. Sorry, of our Redis. I don't know why I call it container. And now we entered inside, and we saw the max memory that was 0. But let's check now after we update our YAML. Max memory. Okay, like it still is 0. But if we do from the policy, it is still the same. So we updated that, we changed it, it was pretty fast, but in the actual Redis CLI nothing has changed that. But what to do in this case, we need to delete the pod and create it once again. So let me get out of Redis and let me delete the pod. Looks like I have to do it manually, but on the most use cases it is done automatically, so don't worry about that. And we delete the pod. We still have the YAML here. Do not worry, the YAML is there. That is really important. And we can say now that hey, the last pod that I created from Redis is I do not need anymore. Remove the configurations and whatever they had inside, remove all the data inside of that, and I want a new one that is 2 MB and a new policy, and that's what I wanted to do. So let me create it again. Let me get the YAML file from the Kubernetes itself. So what I'm doing now, I'm just creating a new Redis pod with my configuration that I've configured with that one. And as you can see, this pod is created. Here, ctl get pods, and voila, the pod is running. It was really fast. But now let's get inside of our Redis CLI. I was about to say container. Yeah. And yeah, let's get inside of Redis CLI, and now let's go to config get max memory, if I wrote it correctly. And as you can see here, it is over to 2 MB, and let's get the policy. And all keys is not eviction anymore. So we have done everything successfully. So what we did, we took a basic YAML file of our configuration with no data anything, and as you saw, it was 0 and no eviction. And we changed that, but our actual container inside of our actual pod inside of it did not change. So we deleted that, and with our new configurations we created it once again, and it got now the configuration, which was from the ConfigMap. And yeah, that's good to go. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It was really easy, I think. But now it's time to delete that because we do not need the Redis pod. Delete. Pod Redis, and the config map. It is called example Redis config. And yeah, this was the, let's say, documentation part for the configure on Redis using ConfigMap. When you say ConfigMap, it sounds like really tricky and really sounds like kind of difficult, but it's nothing else except some attributes that really helps out in an easier way. It's a kind that helps us in an easier way to use the config maps, and it requires metadata and the data for it, which is controls is way more easier. But this is not the best way to create Redis. There are other ways that let's say the guys in the world have found out, but this is one of the basic way that I really suggest you take a look at it and you try it yourself, and of course get used to it. So I think that we finished for today, and for the next video we are going to go with security, where we have to apply the security standards. Yeah, the fun parts. Okay, kind. Oh, do I have kind? Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, tomorrow is gonna be a bit fun, a little bit more tricky, but yeah, that's mainly it for today. And we learn how to use a config map and how to create a Redis. We learn how to apply the changes. We learn how to delete them, and we learn how to use Vim. Okay, I don't think we covered anything else except for this, but don't forget to subscribe and to hit the like button. And yeah, that's pretty much it.